Fred Rowe from Fly Fishing Guide Service. I've been teaching guiding, writing, and lecturing on fly fishing since 1982. Well, let's get to this week's fly fishing report. Hard to believe it's early November. Thanksgiving is right around the corner. Fishing, well, the upper Owens, that area, we're looking for the big trophy fish, both rainbows and browns. And guess what? They're in the river. We're starting to find them. Quick note, as of November 15th, below Benton Crossing Bridge will be closed to fishing. Above Benton Crossing Bridge, open to catch and release fishing year-round with barbless lures or flies. All right, so what am I using up there? Well, I'm using big flies. I'm using size 12, gold-ribbed hare's ears, stoner nymphs, and green and gold wire prince nymphs. And what are we catching? 18 to 25-inch browns and rainbows. Let's head over to Hot Creek, talk about it. The flows in Hot Creek are to a point where the canyon has been fishing good. Gotta say, that's kind of where I might cut my teeth. I'm fly fishing up here, so that's one of my favorite spots, is to fish the canyon. And it's finally, in a big water here, it's finally starting to fish really good. What are we using in there? Well, we're using small nymphs, primarily things that imitate blue wing olives. So I'm using hotspot pheasant tails, Frenchie, beadhead flashbacks. We're also using a few trico dry flies, particularly the spinners, but also the female parachute form of the trico. There's also a decent caddis hatch, and we're using that in a size 20. And there's also size 20 blue wing olive, and we're using that as a blue wing olive parachute. Okay, let's talk about Crawley Lake. It closes on the 15th of November. The marina's already closed, no boats, but you can use float tubes, kayaks, out there and move around and fish wherever you want. Fishing off the shore, well, one of the favorite spots for me is to fish in Whiskey Bay. It's as full as I've seen it, even though they're just starting to drain Crawley Lake. So what we're doing is throwing streamers on a full sink line, and I'm using balanced perch imitations, woolly buggers, and I'm also throwing a prince nymph in a 14 or a 16 in front of my streamer, because the fish think streamer's hitting it and they're getting twice the money for the one effort. And a lot of times they'll just hit the prince and not hit my streamer. Okay, talking about the Crawley Lake starting to drain, well, that water's going through the lower Owens, and guess what? Flows are up, we're not fishing anymore. It's up over 300. By the end of this week, it's supposed to be upwards of 500, 600. I got an announcement from DWP saying it could go as high as 700 CFS in there, which means you really want to avoid that area and be super careful in and around the riverbeds, because one slip, you can get pulled down the river. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to drown. And we don't want to see that. We want you to live another day to enjoy the outdoors. When the lower Owens goes up to 700 CFS. Where do I go fish? Well, I fish Bishop Creek Canal, because they keep it low enough I can fish there. And we're nymphing in there with the same old, same old. Why? Because those flies work. Beadhead flashback pheasant tails, hotspot pheasant tails, Frenchies, and the green gold prince nymph. Well, that's been Fred Rowe from Fly Fishing Guide Service. I can be found on Instagram or Facebook. Find me on Tuesdays, Mahogany Smoked Meats from 9 to 11, talking fly fishing. Or find me on lpptv.us.